Davante Adams rings a bell. Phenomenal wide receiver, top and probably many of your lists. Came out and discussed who he had in his top list, and he has Calvin Ridley as his number 4, where he talks about right here. Take a listen.
Okay. I will put at 4. I'm gonna make some people mad with this one. Calvin Ridley.
Okay. Explain this.
I mean, you could say whatever you want about last year. They ain't got nothing to do with football. And it was silly anyway.
Right.
But he's going to be back this year, and I think that he's going to have a really, really good year. And at receiver, as you know, we don't control everything, so we control our tape. Watch the boy's tape. He's out there doing stuff to people consistently with the routes. He don't get nobody a break.
So, I mean, here's the thing. Coming from Davante Adams is a hell of a compliment. We've heard Aaron Rodgers show him a lot of love. Obviously, he went to the Raiders to play with Derek Carr. We know what this kid can do. Turn the birds down. I know, Cody. I've been trying to tell him.
I'm sorry. The birds are vicious here.
Yeah, we know what
it's like
we know
Costa
what Calvin.
Rica.
Yeah, we know what Davante, what he can do. So for him to come out there and say Calvin's my top 4 guy, and like he said, watch the tape. There's a lot of things that we were talking about precast. Is the guy played in Atlanta with a diminishing Matt Ryan. He played in Atlanta with a old ass Julio Jones. He played in Atlanta with a broken Todd Gurley. He played in Atlanta with a weak offensive line. So you got this kid coming out of college.
Terrible.
From Alabama, right? And he honestly, the guy resurged the Falcons' offense to a certain extent. And look, nothing against Matt Ryan,
Absolutely.
but he was definitely on the end of his career. You didn't get prime Ryan, and you didn't get prime Julio, who obviously would take on some of the double teams for you, right? And he was a massive producer for fantasy football, right? So you're not drafting the guy if he's not doing anything. Now he's going to be on a team coming off of a year of obviously being suspended, going through the mental stuff that he's going through. He's obviously been dealing with mental health issues as well. He's on a second chance. And something about a second chance, what that does for people is absolutely huge as well. That's number 1. Number 2, he's coming to a Jacksonville team that just had one of the best years that it's had in a very long time. Not just winning-wise, but just offense production-wise. Now you team him up with Christian Kirk, who had a phenomenal year. Zay Jones, who had a phenomenal year. Evan Ingram, who had a phenomenal year. Okay? On top of your addition to the tight end, on top of to the running back room, there's a lot of talent surrounding him, and then you also have a young, rejuvenized, fired-up T-Law slinging you the ball. The year that Calvin Ridley could have, it could be absolutely insane. I feel like we always get really hyped for Jaguars wide receivers. If there's a year that the hype should be solidified, I believe that this year is going to be the year. I think, and with how much talent is surrounding Trevor Lawrence, everyone is just going to be able to finally find their rhythm more than what they did last year. So, and again, Davante Adams, the man's over here speaking the truth. What does he have to gain? I think that's where it's coming from. It's almost like it's coming out of left field to a certain extent by just Davante Adams pulling that out of his pocket. You know what I mean? Because the guy was like, explain that. I don't know who was interviewing him, but he was shook from the answer. Because you don't think Calvin Ridley is a top 4 wide receiver in the league when you got Justin Jefferson, Stephon Diggs, Davante Adams, Cooper Kupp, right? Jamar Chase, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle. I mean, the list goes on, and this guy pulls out Calvin Ridley.
Well, I'll tell you this. Another guy that likes him a lot is the former Panthers wide receiver, Smith, that is doing that wide receiver breakdown now. Yeah, likes him a lot. He likes his route running ability, likes the separation he gets. And he said, quote, I read it somewhere, he's young but has that savviness of a veteran and that savviness to get open. And that's high praise from a small guy with not elite speed that had to use that savviness his whole time in the league to get open.
Cody's preaching the gospel today, boys. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, I'm just locked in.
Just locked in on Jaguars, you know what I mean? No, I love that.
Yeah.
That's a solid point there from Steve Smith. Again, having that swagness of a veteran, I think that speaks volumes. And again, those are two massive compliments from two phenomenal wide receivers that are throwing this guy praise. And for what reason? They don't have a reason to, but just to be perfectly honest and blunt with them. So, look, I think a lot of people, I haven't been as high on this, but I know a lot of Jaguar fans have been really excited about the Calvin Ridley addition. These comments had me more excited, to be honest with you. I probably wasn't excited, but now, again, I think just thinking about it and understanding what's being put in place, and I think we were really frustrated with the lack of defense additions with the draft, with defensive linemen, the cornerback position. Jaguars feel pretty comfortable with what they got for a reason. And it goes back to kind of what I always say about the Florida Gators and Billy Napier. I trust Dougie P. You know what I'm saying? I think the guy knows what he's doing.
Well, and he's going into an offense that is gonna do things to get him the ball. He's gonna get the tunnel screens. He's gonna get the slant passes. They're gonna feature him. Doug P's got a small mini playbook just wrapped up for Calvin Ridley. They don't go and take a guy like this if he didn't. If Doug P's not banging on the dang table saying, look, we got to go get this guy. This is our Debo. This is a guy that can do a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
And spread the defense out. Because, guys, we talk about this. The name of the game is just getting numbers and getting the defense as thin as they can. And if you can line Calvin Ridley up against a DB that's not very good, and he can rack up 100 yards a game and 2 tutties, it doesn't matter. Because all the offensive firepower has the defense spread out. They're not going to be able to double team him, because as soon as they double team him, they're going to run the ball to ETN or Tank, or they're going to give it to one of the other wide receivers or tight ends, Ingram, and it's just going to be a matchup nightmare for him.
Yeah,
and so this is a smart move by Jags.
Yeah,
All the juice to go around.